Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Rocky Mountain National Park. I'm finally getting the 4x5 out this morning. I have the Arca Swiss F set up here on my tripod, and I've loaded up some Fuji Provia 100. Unfortunately, we did not get any clouds up in the sky this morning, but I think it's going to be okay because we have this nice stream running through, and there's plenty of light reflecting on the water, and then there's some beautiful soft purple light on the peaks as well. And the peaks are right at the top of the frame, so the cloud is not 100% necessary, and I think the scene will render really nicely on Provia. I'm going to go ahead, get set up, wait a little bit longer for that light to get a little bit more intense, and get a little bit on this tree right here in the foreground, and then we'll go ahead and capture the shot.
Know what I have in mind.
I metered the scene at 1 second at f32, and I think this light is just about as good as it's going to get, so I'm going to go ahead and fire off the first shot.
Without a sign, 'cause I know what matters to you. But what do you want? What's your biggest need? Every hour we spend together.
Okay, so the truth is I have about 8 sheets of Provia that I really want to use up. I loaded them for a trip probably 6 months ago that I didn't get to use, and then every time I shoot 4x5 since then, I haven't used these sheets because I'm always worried that during that travel or all the time they've been sitting in the bag that maybe they've been exposed to light or maybe it's not fresh anymore. So they just kind of keep sitting. But 8 sheets of Provia is not cheap, so I've always wanted to use it up. So this is the perfect type of scene where I think it's going to come out great, and if it doesn't, I won't be heartbroken because there's no cloud. I can always return and shoot this exact same scene. So I'm probably going to burn through all 8 sheets. I shot 2 just now of this early morning light, and then as that sun comes up to fill the valley, I'm going to start looking for some more compositions to go ahead and use up the other 6 sheets. Okay, so what I'm setting up for now is just shooting the water that's rolling over these rocks and is catching some really beautiful light. And as that sun gets higher, it's reflecting off of these peaks, and then that warm light is reflecting in the water. So I'm still going to be at about a 1 second exposure, which is just perfect for the flow of the water. And no camera movements, nothing special, just focusing right here where the water's rolling over the rock. I have the 210mm lens on, and I haven't looked at it under the dark cloth yet, but I think it's going to look really nice. Okay, so I backed up a couple of feet. There's this turbulence right at the front of this rock, and I really wanted to make sure I had that in the scene, and it was getting a little bit too close to the edge, and I didn't want to pan to the left at all because all this beautiful water catching this warm light is really key to the scene. So I backed up just 2 or 3 feet just to make sure I'm getting all the detail in the frame that I want. You can see that tuft of grass in the back there. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm stopping down to f32. It should give me plenty of depth of field, but the water is going to be soft. It doesn't need to be necessarily tack sharp in focus, but I think I should have enough depth of field at 90mm to be in focus front to back. It's going to be a 1 second exposure. Once again, Provia 100, and this is f32.
Now, I've talked in the past on this channel about the benefits of getting to know a location and shooting it over and over, and this is a perfect example. I've been to this location many times, and I knew that shortly after the sun would rise, it would come up behind me, casting a warm glow across these grasses, and you can see exactly that happening here. On a prior trip, I noticed this bush, but it wasn't in bloom, and because I knew exactly where the light would hit, I was able to see the potential in the composition before the light got to its peak. Now, this is especially important to me when I'm shooting large format, as the setup time is significantly longer than it is with digital. I need to be set up several minutes before the light hits its peak, ready to click that shutter. This is why I'll almost never shoot a location with film that I haven't scouted prior. I need to scout the location first and have the exact image in mind, ready to click that shutter, and all I have to do is wait for the light.
Okay, so I've set up for the next scene. I gotta be quick because the light's moving very quickly and I don't want the light to hit these flowers here. So the composition that I'm gonna show you on the ground glass shortly is just these yellow flowers with this rock, and there's a band of warm light on the top hitting the grass, and then just a little bit of the stream flowing through. I'm gonna do 2 exposures here at f16. I'm gonna do a quarter of a second and then half a second. And I'm just gonna wait for a moment where I don't have any breeze, just to try and get the grasses and the flowers nice and sharp. And I'm just using this slide to mask the front of the lens so there's no lens flare. Okay. Okay, I think that we got it. We got a nice calm. You can see the grasses aren't moving at all. So I think that that's gonna come out really nice. And I like that we kept the light off of the flowers in the foreground because it gives you this nice band of light at the top. And I think it gives a nice contrast to the scene. I got one more scene behind me that I wanna shoot with my last couple of sheets of film. Okay, our last composition of the day, and I have to move quick because light's getting harsh fast, and with Provia, I don't have a ton of dynamic range. I have this nice log that's just kind of running across the scene. I'm focusing on that, and I'm just getting the very top of these grasses where I'm getting this nice band of warm light, and then you have this beautiful, cool stream running through at the bottom of the scene. I'm sticking with 210 millimeters, f16, and it's gonna be about a quarter of a second exposure. I have 2 sheets of film left, so I'm gonna duplicate the shot just like I have with all the others. I haven't decided yet if I'll do 1 1/4 and 1 1/2 or do both at a quarter second, but for now I'm gonna go ahead and show you the ground glass.
I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. Try to make this darkness go away. I'll paint with colors.
I don't know if you saw that, but when I went to close everything down, my tripod base was loose, so it shifted. So I got to hop back under and make sure that everything is still aligned. I really need to move quickly before that light ruins the scene. Oh yeah, not even close. Okay, so I am going to duplicate, but I'm going to do a quarter and an eighth because the light has dropped further on the grasses, and I want to make sure that I don't lose any detail and blow out those highlights. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot 1 frame at a quarter of a second and 1 at 1/8 of a second.
Take this weight off my shoulders, 'cause I know yesterday ain't coming back. I'm gonna let the past stay in the cold. I won't listen to the ocean, but it's unsaid, words unspoken, and I'll let my mind be carried by the waves. Oh, I will open up my eyes so I can see the light. Oh, and I'll try to spread my wings so I can fly. Oh, and the darkness starts to fade. Feels like things are gonna go my way.
Okay, so I waited as long as I could for a little bit of a calm to try and get those grasses as sharp as can be. At a quarter of a second and an eighth of a second, there's still gonna be a little bit of move. I could sit here all day. They're never gonna stop moving completely. But it's not gonna really matter to me because the key of the image is this log coming across, and really those grasses at the very top are just about that little band of light and the warm light coming into the scene. So it's okay to me if they're a little bit soft. It's not really the point of the image. Okay, well that is 8 sheets of Provia exposed in about 45 minutes. I think that's probably a record for me. Hopefully the video comes out. I was scrambling a bit with the filming. Trying to do film photography when you're running against light and doing video is quite tricky, but hopefully the images come out, and more importantly, I hope you enjoy the video. I'll go ahead and show you the images now. Otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'll get out there and make some images. So what really shocked me about these is how much different the image looks. Now, of course, the light changed quite a bit. These are about 5 minutes apart. So you can see this is still blue hour. The sky hasn't reached the horizon yet. We're starting to get just this faint glow on the peaks, and you can see the Earth's shadow in the sky. And it has a really nice, cool blue tone to it. Now this image, which is just a few minutes later, has a ton of warmth in the sky. And this one is exposed better. You can see I'm just starting to lose these highlights here. There's just enough detail. I couldn't have pushed this any further. But for this image, I probably could have used at least another half a stop, if not a full stop, before I would start to lose this highlight here. So I was a little bit more conservative with this one, and I wish I would have pushed it a little bit more because I actually prefer this light. I like that nice, relaxing blue tone. To me, this image, even though it's better exposed, I just don't like it as much because this is my favorite time in Rocky. I love being there before the sun comes up. It's quiet, it's peaceful, and I love capturing these blue hour images. So this one will scan just fine. There's no blocked up shadows or anything, but again, I would have preferred at least another half a stop on this one. Going to the other exposures. This is the one that I was probably most excited about, and it came out beautiful. So we have this band of really warm light here on top, and then this beautiful bush of yellow flowers that are all facing towards the sun, and just this little bit of water on the bottom. And this is such a pleasant scene to me, and it came out exactly the way I hoped it would in the field when I photographed it. I actually photographed 2 exposures of each of these, and this was the darker of the 2 exposures, and I'm glad that I shot this because these highlights here are perfect. And on the one that was just, I can't remember if it was a half a stop or a stop brighter, I started to lose these highlights, and there's still plenty of shadow detail here, so this is actually a perfect exposure. Now this is the second one, and I was going for a similar image here. You can see I dedicated about the same amount to the top, but the amount of warmth has changed so much. This is only about 10 minutes, and you can see it all throughout the image. I wish I had used a warming filter on this one because my goal was to have these 2 images complement each other well, and I'm gonna need to warm this up in post because the grasses are a nice warm green here, and here they're more of a blue green, and then of course on top you have an entirely different color in the tops of the grasses. So I'll definitely go ahead and when I scan these try and make that match closer.
What I will do though is leave this water blue like this. I love that color contrast, and that's really what I was going for. So that's why I dedicated half of each part to the frame. The water, I'm just a sucker for moving water. I think it's just beautiful. So when I scan this, I'll likely leave this section alone and then warm up the top half a bit. And then here's this image. This was in my mind going to be a 6x12. I really love the way the light reflects in the water. And then I have this sliver of grass on top. And the goal there was just to kind of give scale to the image and a little bit of texture. If I'm being completely honest, it just didn't work. This image is just no good. I'm still gonna scan it and crop it and see if I change my mind, but not really pleased with this one. Love this image, not sure about this one yet. And these two, I like the composition, but I'll return in the future to reshoot it under hopefully better conditions.
Stupid I would be to still have faith, to never stop believing that one day, when time is right and stars align, our views would coincide. We'll see the world